Last week I was reached out to by the Break the Game movie to do a Breath of the Wild 90% speedrun live in front of a theater audience. This was a bit different than anything I've ever done before. It's not every day that your speedrun is broadcasted in a movie theater, but I think that the speedrun turned out pretty interesting. So without further ado, let's get into the run. Let's go. So the first thing you're going to notice right off the bat is that the game is in French and our voice acting is in Italian. So the French language in terms of the text is the fastest for any percent. The voice acting doesn't really matter, but trust me, Italian is the best and you'll see why eventually. So for those of you who don't know what a speedrun is, I don't know how well versed you all are, but our entire goal right now is to beat the entire game as quickly as possible. I will leave the final time a surprise, but all you need to know is that this game is flawless and has 0 tricks. So you'll also notice my timer has not started. Breath of the Wild's timing starts as soon as we get control of Link. So as soon as I skip this cutscene, the timer will start. And we're good. So right now we're on the Great Plateau, which is like the introduction for the game here. In order to get off of it and get access to the rest of the game, we have to complete the 4 shrines on the plateau and then get the paraglider. So the first step to that is to grab the Sheikah Slate here, because we have no other option. Thank you everybody from Minneapolis. I hope you all enjoyed the film. All right, so first things first, we just got this Sheikah Slate. It's got a very interesting mechanic where we can use it as a telescope a little bit. It's a little bit bugged because it allows us to do stuff like, hold up. That, and clips us straight out of bounds, allowing us to skip the cutscenes that are further down there. You have to open a couple of doors. There's a funny title card cutscene that we get to skip. And now we're on our quest to beat the Great Plateau here. So right now we've got nothing but a pair of shorts to our name. So we're gonna grab some equipment from this Bokoblin camp here. So sometimes you can get unlucky and this guy's gonna grab that spear. That's crazy. Thankfully there's an autosave. That is incredibly unlucky. Great start. All right, let's try that again. No way. Okay. That was close. Okay, so now we have a spear and a pot lid. The pot lid will be the only shield, hopefully, that we have to use for the rest of the run. But we'll see. Yes, that was a RNG manip. Trust me, it'll make sense later. Okay. So before we clipped by using the Sheikah Slate scope, but now that we have a shield, we can actually do something a little bit more convenient than that. So we want to get a bow out of the Temple of Time here. And if we shield surf on this ledge, this will put us in a weird state where we can kind of just do that and go through walls. And now that we have a bow, we can do something a little bit funny here. Very intended. There we go. I'm sure we all did this on our first playthrough. This is known as a BLSS. By picking up the bow and the pot at the same time and then jumping and unequipping the shield, it puts Link into a strange state where the pot or an object that we pick up gets stuck to him. And when we use a step up by aiming him with the bow, it again puts him in a strange state where he is floating in the air, and we can wiggle the stick to build speed. And if none of this has made sense so far, don't worry, it's about to make even less sense. So the reason why we're actually doing the bomb shrine first is because it allows us to do yet another trick known as a wind bomb, where we can use the bombs to launch ourselves in a way. There's not really a good way to explain this, but you'll see in a second. So this is kind of a difficult trick. This is the hardest wind bomb in the game. It's known as gamer wind bomb. So if we get it, we're a real gamer. But let's see. Barely too low. Let's try again. We did not get it, but that's okay. We can just blow up the rocks here and complete the shrine. So this is the very first shrine. We have 3 left to go, but that's pretty much all the main tricks that are gonna be through the run. So we have the wind bomb, the BLSS, the skew clipping, the scope clipping, which we all remember by name, I'm sure. So now we're gonna see why I picked Italian voice acting. The voice direction for the old man here is very good. So I just split. It's fine. I don't know why he sounds like that in Italian. Surely that's how Italian people greet each other. But yeah. He just starts screaming. Yeah, I tried to split and it stopped my timer, but we're good. Ooh. All right, so now we're gonna do something a little bit controversial. We need some food for the rest of the run, and the fastest way to do so is by scanning amiibos for attack up food. Pay to win speedrunning. So we want to try to get 7 attack up points. That is like perfect RNG. That's crazy. I was really worried about not getting the fish we need here, but that is more than enough. Sweet. All right. So now we can do another funny flying trick here. Okay, goodbye, bomb. We use the square one. So this is another reason why bombs first is really good, is because it allows us to do a BLSS anywhere. Before we had to use a pot, and it was just convenient that there was a pot there. But thankfully, bombs also work for this trick. So we can just use this to go straight over to the Magnesis Shrine. Some of you might be confused as well why we were clipping into shrines in the first place. Traditionally, in order to get into these shrines, we have to raise the plateau tower in order to open them. So by clipping into these shrines, we can completely skip the tower, which is a huge time save for the run. And now we get our second ability, Magnesis, which is not nearly as useful as bombs, but still gonna be pretty cool. We're gonna see one of 2 uses of Magnesis here. I hope y'all are ready for this. It's kind of crazy. There we go. And now, just like the bomb shrine, can do another wind bomb to just skip the entire shrine. There we go. I'm not going to split this time, I promise. So the next shrine we're going to is Stasis, which is on the other side of the plateau. Thankfully, we have a very convenient method of movement here to get over there. This one's a little bit tricky. We have to go through a ditch. Hopefully I do not mess this up. And you'll see here too, we're actually going so fast that the game is having to do these little small loads to keep up with us and keep the world loaded. Okay, I thought I was gonna hit that rock there. So the Stasis Shrine is right up there. And as I'm sure you all can imagine, my bomb is rolling away from me. Okay. We can do another funny little wind bomb here. to get up. I have no idea what he just did. Should be in a fight. Oh my, that was so close. Normally you go a little bit higher than that, but you know what? It worked, so. That was close. That was close. I am doing Cliff. So after the shrine, there is a wind bomb that saves 6 seconds. It is very difficult. It's a world record level strat known as the Cliff wind bomb. And I promised Moist that I would go for it. Imagining the Mario BLJ sound as you slide backwards. All right, so now we're at stasis. Stasis, once again, not really super useful. Optimally, we only use it once here if we get Cliff, but if we don't use Cliff, there's one other use for it. Once again, we have another wind bomb here that I notoriously suck at. Right. This one's a little bit tricky because the other ones have like walls to stop you. This one has nothing. So it's a little bit more of a precise angle you need. There we go. Getting specific launch angles with wind bombs can be a little bit tricky because the only thing that's really... There's multiple factors that are within your control to make it work. So it's your bomb placements, where you're aiming initially, and where you aim afterwards. So... Oh, the whole theater said, oh, when I fell off the edge. I am notorious for failing that wind bomb. Alright, so this is Cliff wind bomb. If I get this, I'm crazy. No way. Oh my gosh. I barely did not make that. Alright. That's okay. This is our backup here. I have never seen that before where it like barely doesn't make it. Alright, so we can just do that instead. And my health is a little bit low here, but thankfully I have stocked up on fish. Alright, so now we can do another BLSS here. Oh, there we go. And this one will take us straight to Cryonis. And if you've seen for the rest of the shrines, we've just clipped through the side basically. And while we can do this on this shrine, there's actually a slightly faster but harder strat. It is a frame perfect clip known as the ESC here. So we get skew on the edge like this. First try, nice. And then it lets us clip straight through the front door. All right. And now, the most useless ability in the game, we do not use this once, but we have to get it in order to beat the plateau, is Cryonis. This is also just the easiest shrine to do in general. I'm glad I get to show off at least how Cliff Wind Bomb should look. Normally you get a little bit more height and you land up top. Just a little bit unfortunate. It's a very, very difficult trick. I did not quick fix. I'm just gonna reload the save here actually. There's also another thing that's a little bit finicky about wind bombs, and that is that every time we do a skew clip, we get put in a state called ragdoll glitch. And ragdoll glitch actually prevents us from being able to get wind bombs like that, where it just stops all our speed. And we have a fix for that known as quick fix, where we just shield surf and unequip the shield midair, and for whatever reason that fixes it. Question for Jake, were you following the Breath of the Wild speedrunning scene back in 2017? So a little backstory on me. I've been speedrunning since 2012. I am 22 right now, so I'm sure you can do a little math there. I was very, very young when I got into speedrunning. One of the first ever speedruns I actually saw was an Ocarina of Time run by Narcissa, so that makes this a little bit cool to be a part of. And I've been speedrunning Zelda pretty much ever since. So when Breath of the Wild came out, it was like the big thing in Zelda speedrunning at the time. And I was following the game. I actually ran it in 2018 for a brief period of time. It was a way different game back then. And it was actually faster on the Wii U. And, you know, the Wii U is a console that exists. But now that it's on Switch and it's a lot faster, I came back. But I tend to keep tabs on all of the Zelda speedruns. But it has changed quite a bit. If you ever watched Breath of the Wild speedruns back then, you might know something called the bullet time bounce, or the BTB, off of enemies. It's no longer used in the run because of BLSS, but it is used in some of our longer categories, which is kind of cool. Alright, so now we're going to do what's called a fall damage cancel in order to not die there. And we can do that just by throwing the stick and equipping a shield. The SDA forums, I was definitely on the SDA forums. There was also the Zelda speedruns forums where I'm sure 12-year-old me was causing some mayhem on there. But there's a lot of cool history back on those sites. All right, so we just completed the plateau. That is the introduction to the game. And now our next goal is to beat the game. And to do that, we have to go to Hyrule Castle. So we can do another BLSS here and go all the way there. Unfortunately, I now have no weapon, and I have this really trash bow, so I don't think I'm going to be able to do much damage to the final boss rush with this. Thankfully, in the castle itself, there is a bunch of weapons we can use. So we're going to make a small detour to get some there. And ideally, there's going to be a gate at the lower part of the castle here. And if we're quick enough and get lucky, the gate will not load. And so we can actually just get in through a slightly faster entrance. And it's a little bit RNG because it really just depends on what the game decides to load first. I'm actually lost. Oh, here we go. All right, so you can see there should be a gate here. There's not. We could just go through. All right, so we're trying to load this moblin in here. I'm dead. There should be an autosave right here, I think, or it's gonna put us all the way back at plateau. Is it back to plat? I think it might be back to plat. That's fine. Oh, let's go. That is so lucky. I don't know if I can really state how lucky that is, but that's kind of crazy. Autosaves in this game are notoriously weird and don't like to work properly. But we should be good. All right, cool. So we're gonna knock that guy out, grab the sword behind him, then we can sneak strike him to grab his sword. So now we have 2 weapons already. Also gonna grab some more attack up food from this crate here. And just for a little bit of safety, so surely this guy doesn't shoot me. We can actually grab a dragon scale out of this chest. Okay. A little bit scary. Getting through castle with just 3 hearts and no weapons is not easy. But we can blow up this wall and open this chest. And that's going to give us some ancient arrows, which is the strongest arrow in the game. So that will help us as well. And there's the Lizalfos right here, but if we throw a bomb, it will distract him. So we can get another sneak strike. Grab the boomerang. There's also a cooking pot here. Oh wait, I have too much food. Okay. And we can cook this, and this is gonna give us an attack up 3 dish, which will allow us to do a lot more damage to the final bosses. Now here we gotta do another scope clip similar to the beginning of the game, like that. Do what's called a mid-air wind bomb. It's gonna put us out of bounds here. Another mid-air. And that is gonna set us up to Zelda's study. Don't alert the guy, please. Alright, clip back in bounds. He heard me. I gotta hide from this guy really quick. Yeah. How did you see me? How did you get through the door? Alright, we're gonna wait a second here. He's gonna lose me. I think. Normally he loses you here. Is he gonna stay here? Okay. I might have to do something a little bit scary. Need to bait him further. Alright. Stay out here, please. Alright, now he should lose me. Okay. There we go. So the reason why we couldn't sneak strike him there is the AI, whenever they see you, it removes the ability to sneak strike. And he's not the smartest enemy in the world. So as soon as he stops seeing me, he's like a little baby and has no object permanence. All right, we can do another wind bomb here. This one looks pretty cool. And this will send us over to the final boss. So if you don't beat any of the game's dungeons, it tries to throw a little bit of a challenge at you by giving what's called the Blight's boss rush, I guess you could call it. And there's going to be 4 enemies that you would normally fight in the dungeon in a row. If I shoot an arrow in that spot and then start the cutscene, the arrow is actually going to be suspended in the air during this cutscene, dealing damage to Windblight here. And if I did it right, Windblight dies while in the cutscene. So that's 1 less for us to do. And now we have to do Waterblight. That is the only boss that we have a way of skipping in this boss rush. And something to note is that if we die at any point, we go all the way back to before the boss rush. So we have to do this without basically taking any hits. So Waterblight here is, I would say, one of the easiest. Throw a bomb for good luck, I guess. So if you shoot Waterblight twice, Waterblight will fall down. And then we can get another headshot in before he teleports. And that's Waterblight. And now this is Fireblight. This is probably the hardest one, and there's also RNG involved, so hopefully this goes well. We also need to be very careful because we have very limited durability for this boss fight. We cannot take too much damage on any of these weapons. Otherwise, we won't have enough for all the bosses. So this is where I meant to drop the bomb. Fireblight's got this shield here. Oh. There we go. And he's gonna suck in our bomb. And this is where the RNG is, so that was close. Ideally, we want to end the phase there, but that's okay. We can just spin to win a little bit more. There we go. Then we have the last blight, which is Thunder Blight. This one is very rough. Casually. Anyone who's played this game knows the struggles. So ideally, we want to end this phase while Thunderblight is in the air like this. This is going to make it so that we can break the shield in this next phase. So hopefully we can pull that off here. There we go. Nice. So that's the blights. It's still not over. This is by far the hardest boss in the speedrun. This is Calamity Ganon. And I'm gonna have to focus for this because this is rough. If we die on this fight, we also go back to the beginning of Blights, so we don't really want that to happen. He's going in a weird way. There we go. So that's the first phase. Now he's invincible. So we ideally want to get a laser here. I think he's going to go on the wall. Yeah. So he's going to attack me here and then he should run to the wall. Okay. So now I have to parry one of his attacks, and if I get a bad attack here, I'm dead. Okay. Alright, thankfully the hard part's over. So now, as long as I time everything correct, we can actually stun lock him here. Gotta focus a little bit more, it's still kind of rough. If we mess up here and miss the stun lock, he'll do a slam attack that is a little bit difficult to parry and will kill us. But I think we're good here. There we go. I didn't die on Blights, or the final boss rush. But it's still not over. We still have one more boss. There's a lot of bosses in this game. This is Dark Beast. And thankfully this is also by far the easiest boss. It's pretty much an auto-scroller. I have died in this boss twice. We do not speak of those times. I think about it every night before I go to bed. This is the horsey part. We can also throw our sword here for good luck. Alright. So if we're cool, we can hit a pre-fire here. He's trying to kill me. I think I moved too early. We're good. Alright, Dark Beast is... I don't want to jinx myself, or I hope I didn't jinx myself, but it's kind of in a weird state right now. Okay, we're good. We have a certain way that we want to manipulate him so that he turns and doesn't attack us. Wait, too early. And the wrong spot. Do not get off the horse here. I have lost a PB to getting off the horse. Fun fact. That was a cool jump. No! Get out of the tree! Alright. Now we just have one more hit, and the run is over. That was an actual jump scare. My horse got stuck in the tree. Thankfully, it was fine. You can do a little dance with the horse to celebrate. And that's Breath of the Wild. That's Breath of the Wild. I hope you all enjoyed the run. I hope you all enjoyed the film most of all. But yeah. That went better than I was hoping. Huge shout outs to Moist Blub. We did races today for like 3 hours in preparation for this run. And I had some runs that were much slower than this, so I'm glad that it's turned out.